What if I told you that the freedom you so desperately seek isn't about gaining more, but about needing less? You spend your life accumulating things, status and approval, believing this will make you free, but every new possession is just another link in the chain that binds you. This is why you live with a chained mind, anxious about losing what you have and frustrated that you never have enough. This is not a guide to modern minimalism. It is the war philosophy of Miyamoto Musashi, a man who understood that attachment is a strategic weakness. For him, detachment was an invisible armor that freed him from fear. In the next few minutes, I will teach you the samurai method to cut the chains of attachment, from the need for others' opinions to the desires of your own body. True freedom is a peace that cannot be stolen. Detachment is not about becoming empty, but about becoming unshakable. If you are tired of being a slave to your own possessions and fears and want to discover the power that comes from needing nothing, pay close attention. Your journey to true freedom begins now. Your mind is chained. There are invisible ropes that bind it to objects, to people, to outcomes, and above all, to the opinions of others. Each of these ropes restricts your movements and drains your energy. You believe you own your things, but in reality, they own you. You live in a prison without walls, where your own attachments are your jailers, and you wonder why you feel so heavy and unfree. The price you pay for this chained mind is your peace and your power. The fear of losing what you have prevents you from seeking what you could become. You don't accept a new challenge because of your attachment to the comfort of your current position. You don't speak the truth for fear of losing someone's approval. The detachment taught by Miyamoto Musashi is not about indifference, but about freedom. The freedom to act with clarity, without the paralyzing fear of loss. All of your anxiety and frustration are born from this condition. You don't suffer because of the world's events, but because of your attachment to how you wish those events would be. Detachment is the path to cutting these ropes, but to cut them, you must first understand how they are forged. And they are all created in the same furnace. The incessant pursuit of pleasure, the relentless pursuit of pleasure is the oldest and most effective trap in existence. Every time you act with the sole purpose of feeling good, buying something new, eating something sweet, seeking a compliment, you are strengthening a rope of attachment. You become like an animal that repeatedly returns to a trap for the bait, not realizing that with each visit, the walls close in a little more. Pleasure is the bait. The loss of your freedom is the price. Miyamoto Musashi, in his code of conduct, the Dokudo, wrote, "Do not seek pleasure for its own sake." This is not a call for a life of misery, but one of purpose. The true warrior finds satisfaction in the execution of his art, not in the reward it brings. You train not because it is pleasant, but to become strong. Pleasure is the consequence, not the goal. The detachment from pleasure is what frees you from the need for it. When you stop making pleasure your compass, the cycle of desire and frustration breaks. You discover a more stable and profound form of contentment, one that doesn't depend on external stimuli. By practicing detachment from the need to feel good, you approach the mindset of the true master, a master who understands that the greatest freedom lies not in having everything, but in the art of needing to possess nothing. You believe your possessions define you. My car, my house, my title. This is the central illusion of attachment. The truth is, you possess nothing permanently. You are merely a temporary guardian of the things and people that pass through your life. The master, like Miyamoto Musashi, understands this. He uses a good sword, but his skill doesn't depend on it. He appreciates good company, but his inner peace is not held hostage by it. Detachment is the art of using without possessing. Practice this mental exercise. Look at something of value that you have and tell yourself, I have the use of this, but I do not own it. If it is gone tomorrow, I will remain whole. This is the warrior's training. It is not about getting rid of everything, but about getting rid of the fear of losing everything. It is the difference between having things and being had by them. True detachment is a strength, not an absence. By mastering the art of not possessing, you achieve true wealth, a peace that cannot be stolen, and a freedom that cannot be bought. Your happiness ceases to be a sandcastle, vulnerable to the world's tide. With this philosophical foundation established, we are ready for the practice. And the first rope of attachment we must cut, one of the strongest and most dangerous, is our attachment to the opinions of others. The opinion of others is your invisible master. The fear of criticism prevents you from acting, and the desire for praise turns you into a servant dancing to the tune others play. You live in a cage whose bars are made of what will they think. Miyamoto Musashi walked the path of walking alone. The detachment from others' opinions is not arrogance but self-reliance. It is the declaration that your only judge is your own conscience and your path. To forge this blade, you must treat both criticism and praise with the same strategic coldness. When you receive criticism, do not defend yourself. Extract from it any useful lesson that can sharpen your own blade, and discard the emotional poison. If there is no lesson, discard it entirely as the irrelevant noise of a fool. Praise is even more dangerous, as it feeds the ego. Thank them politely, but internally do not cling to it. Your validation must come from your progress, not from applause. When the opinions of others lose their power over you, an immense freedom arises. You become free to be authentic, to take risks, and to follow your purpose without hesitation. You practice detachment from what others think of your actions. But there is a still more subtle attachment, your own desire for your actions to produce the expected result. The next step is to learn to practice without desire. You act with one eye on the action and the other on the result. Your peace and satisfaction are held hostage by a future you cannot control. If the result is good, you feel a fleeting joy. If it's bad, you feel a crushing frustration. This attachment to the fruit of your labor is a chain that binds you to an emotional roller coaster, undermining your ability to act with serenity and focus. True detachment is learning to fight the battle without needing the victory. The hidden power of practicing without desire is the secret of the great masters. For Miyamoto Musashi, the reward was not the victory in the duel, but the perfectly executed strike. Make your work its own reward. When studying, don't focus on passing the test, but on understanding this concept with total clarity. The detachment from the result not only dramatically reduces your anxiety, but paradoxically increases your chances of success. When you find satisfaction in the act of doing, and not in what the act might bring you, you become free. The fear of failure and the greed for success lose their power over you. Your actions become pure, focused, and far more powerful. You learn to detach from the desires of the mind. But there is a more primitive and constant source of desires, the desires of your own body. Your mind seeks detachment, but your body is a beast hungry for pleasure and comfort. It is the body that begs for 5 more minutes in a warm bed, that salivates for the sweet after a meal, that pulls you into the inertia of the couch. These desires are not you. They are the primitive impulses of an animal seeking only immediate gratification. Miyamoto Musashi teaches that a warrior must be the master, not the slave, of his own body. To master this beast, you must practice saying no. Start with small acts of discipline. Delay your breakfast by an hour. Take a cold shower for 30 seconds. When your body screams for comfort, observe the scream and calmly deny the request. Every small victory over a trivial bodily desire strengthens the muscle of your will. You are training detachment in its most fundamental form. By consciously rejecting the small desires of the body, you gain power over the large ones. Your ability to resist destructive impulses increases exponentially because you have stopped identifying with your hunger and your fatigue. You are the consciousness that commands the machine, and the perfect environment to strengthen this consciousness, to kill the very root of need, is silence. You practice detachment and begin to feel freer, stronger. And then, without realizing it, you forge a new chain, pride. You become attached to your identity as a detached person, This is the most dangerous trap of all. It is like the prisoner who escapes his cell only to proudly chain himself to the prison gate. You've traded an iron chain for a golden one, but you are still a prisoner. The samurai method demands constant vigilance, especially against the ego. Miyamoto Musashi remained a student until the end of his life, even while undefeated. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm good at this," or "I'm more disciplined than others," recognize that thought as the enemy. True detachment is not about building a new, superior self to be proud of, but about dissolving the need for any fixed identity. The practice of detachment is a path, not a destination. There is no trophy at the end. Vigilance against your own success is what keeps you humble, alert, and truly free. But this pride, this attachment to your progress, is just the manifestation of a deeper, more powerful force that must still be confronted. Your own ambition to be someone. The ambition to be someone. The master, the wealthy, the recognized, is the final chain that binds you to the future and robs you of peace in the present. As long as you are attached to a grandiose image of yourself in the future, the now will always be insufficient, a mere stepping stone to be endured. Miyamoto Musashi did not seek to become a legend. He sought perfection in every cut. The legend was a consequence, not a goal. The detachment from ambition is what allows for true mastery. The practice here is not to become passive, but to purify your desire. Instead of aiming for the CEO position, focus your energy on being the most impeccable professional you can be in the task before you today. Excessive ambition makes you despise the process, seeing it as an obstacle. Detachment teaches you to find purpose and honor in the execution of the process itself, here and now. By killing the ambition for a future result, you don't kill your drive, you liberate it. Your energy is no longer spent on anxiety and desire, but is channeled into present excellence. You find peace in the action, not in the promise of a reward. And by freeing yourself from the need for a final destination, you are ready to understand the ultimate truth of the warrior's path. It has no end. The final trap, the last attachment, is the belief that this path has a final destination, that at some point you will arrive at complete detachment and can finally rest. This is an illusion. The path of the warrior, the path of Miyamoto Musashi, is the journey itself. It is not about climbing a mountain to plant a flag at the summit, but about learning the art of walking eternally with grace and balance on any terrain. To have no home does not mean to be a wanderer, but that your peace and your center do not depend on any external place, person, or circumstance. Your home becomes your practice, your detachment, your inner discipline. Miyamoto Musashi was a ronin, a wandering samurai. His home was his mastery of the sword, something he carried within himself. Your peace becomes portable, immune to the storms of the world. With this teaching, all chains are broken. Detachment is not an act you do, but a state you inhabit. It is not a destination. It is the dance of life itself. The samurai method has given you the map to freedom. Now the only thing left is to walk, free and untethered, forever. The path is now closed. You began this journey with a chained mind, a prisoner of your own possessions, opinions and fears. Now you hold in your hand the blade of detachment, the tool to cut every one of those chains. You have learned that true strength is not in having more, but in needing less, and that unshakable peace is born from within, not from without. But the knowledge of freedom is not freedom itself. The question that remains in the silence is, what is the first chain you will cut? The attachment to an object? The need for someone's approval? Or the fear of losing the comfort that keeps you small? Your journey to becoming unshakable doesn't begin with this video, but with your first act of courage and detachment. This dojo is for those who seek true inner freedom. If this is also your path, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue your training. Remember what you have learned here. The world will keep trying to chain you, Keep your blade sharp.